Hi, this is George at Foam and Flies. Today we're going to tie a foam stimulator. Okay, we're going to start off with, I got about a 1/2-inch hook, some red thread. I've got some ostrich, some brown hackle, some elk hair, and some yellow foam. And what I'm going to do is go ahead, I'm going to thread this hook. I'm going to thread it all the way from the eye just to the bend in the shaft. Some red thread. Okay, I'm actually bending it a little bit around the shaft. You can see that little bit of red will flash on there above the tail. So speaking of the tail, we're going to go ahead and grab some elk hair. Not too much, 20, 25 pieces. Snip it right at the base. Okay, and brush out, doing this, always brush out your deer hair and your elk hair and your stiff hair to get all that fuzz or anything out of there. We're going to put it inside the stacker so you get it nice and even. Touch them down a little bit. Give it some good bends or some good bangs. Okay, so when we take this, what we want to do now is for the tail, which is really important for a stimulator, is that we don't make it too long. Okay, one of the things that'll throw you off or it won't look right and it'll be unbalanced is the tail. I made a mistake of tying his tail way too big because it's fun to stick those strands way out, but you only want the tail about the length of the shaft, about the length of the gap, about the length of the gap. So what you want to do is grab it right about there. We'll pinch it nice and tight. We want to stay material on top as much as we can, and put it in there, tie it in. A couple good wraps so it doesn't go anywhere. If we have to, we'll make it a little shorter. There we go. Okay, now this material here, we're actually going to be using this material to help build bulk with the body. So what you want to do is kind of grab it, go over, you're going to pinch on top, kind of pinch it, grab it with the finger, pinch down, grab it with your finger, walk across the whole fly, just trying to do it nice and even. Takes a little bit of practice, but you can pick it right up. Then I want to go to where the eye is, and I'm going to trim it on an angle so it's not on the eye. When you come back, cross over, so you're not going over the same wraps and it's not bulging anything. Okay. And this one I don't care much for. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is we're going to tie in a nice piece of ostrich. Well, what you do is kind of wet it. Lets it stick down so you can tie it in. You don't have to tie it in all the way. Okay. Get that right back to where it is. Okay, we're going to tie a piece of foam. This piece of foam is only about as thin as the blade on the scissors. Next thing we're going to do is take a nice piece of super glue. Now this is important. You want to put a nice little bead on top and then kind of smooth it around, and you'll see why when I go to twist the ostrich hair in. So put it on here, and then what I'm doing is I'm taking a little piece of this and kind of wrap it around a little bit. Alright, and I'm going to tie this in. Smaller piece right here. Just tie it in nice and flat. And you're going to catch some super glue, which is fine. It's actually pretty good. Go all the way, bring that thread all the way. Okay, so now you have what looks like this. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to wrap this. Okay, and when I wrap this, I'm going away from me because I normally tie underneath. So I'm actually going to be tying this over. So I'm going to be tying over first. And I want to follow the one before it, so it's not a gap, but if you're doing it right and you're laying it right next to the other one, you'll start to see a little bead of super glue come up. And that's what you're looking for right there. So if you got to go a little past it and then slide it back a little bit, that's fine. As long as you get that little bead of glue coming. Because that's what's going to hold your ostrich feather in place. And you go to leave about 1/3 in there. Okay. Get him back up here. Twist this over here so it catches. And it's nice and even. It's got a little super glue, you see catching the string. It just means if I make a mistake, it'll be that much harder to pull it apart. Okay, so I can see that little bit of super glue between each of the gaps. So really easy now, I'm going to take this ostrich feather. This breaks really easy. Follow that super glue on that gap between the foam. Oh. There we go. Oh. See how easy this stuff's so brittle, but yet I love these feathers. Come on. There. Catches it. What I was doing is it catches that hook. All right. I want to make sure I'm catching that gap right there. Makes a difference because it'll really keep that from sliding around. We also want to make sure it's even. Here we go. Nothing ruins a fly faster than getting the ribbing where it's not asymmetrical on it. It's like the first thing you notice. In this, you want to be double careful because you really want to follow that glue. Okay, so when we get to the end, let's give it an extra wrap at the head here. There we go. Okay, so now we're going to cross over. Cross over nice and tight. Make sure that's where I want it to cut it. Yep. Okay, keeping this at the top. Spool at the bottom so we don't accidentally cut the thread. Tie it in. Keep from going anywhere. Okay, so now we got the body. So now next thing we want to do is we're going to grab some more hairs. This time a little bit more than you put in first time, but not much more. The thing now though is we're not going to put them in the stacker. We want them a little uneven. We want them like a wing. We don't want these perfect. We don't want them. When this fly was designed, it was designed to be So this is like a wing. So we want to find the angle it's going. So it's going like this. And it's right there. We're going to take any of the garbage stuff off. And this should do it. So remember, nice and tight. We only want it to go not over the wing, not over here, not back here. Just over-centered over the body. And right on the red. Right where we put that red thread. Nice and tight. 3 or 4 wraps. We'll hold it. Now what I like to do with this one is, and this time I don't need to do it. If it's loose or it's hanging or it's not even on top, you can do a couple underneath wraps, kind of like you're tying a parachute wing. Underneath wraps tighter, but this one's staying kind of nice right there, so don't want to mess with it. Don't want to jinx it either. Put a little head cement on there if I want. Okay, I want to take this, just like I did earlier. I want to cut this on a nice angle. Just like that. So we can tie it in as the head. And we don't have a big lump here. Okay. So the next thing we're going to do, I like that. Let's make sure, let's look at the other side. Yep, she's fine. Okay. Okay, so we're going to grab the nice brown feather and we'll strip some of this off. Okay, then we're going to come over to here, make a tab, just like that. Find the part of this feather if there's got some bad parts in it. Let's see. So far it looks like this one. I'm going to strip this off. You can use the whole feather if you like, but I find this way keeps it a little less messy. Okay, see which way the feather's going, which it's going this way. So we're going to tie it in right here. Starting right at the fibers. Grabbing that. Again, tilt it up. We don't accidentally cut our thread. Okay. Next thing we want to do is get some dubbing on here. So what I do is I grab some off of the okay. Alright, we're going to work this up a little bit just so it's where the feather is. And we'll just a little cover, just a little bit of the red showing into here. Okay, I'm going to back this off a little bit. I want a little bit of red. So right there. Okay, so now we got a little bit of the red showing right there. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to wrap this heck around, and we want it going this way right here, right in the middle of that dubbing. Don't overlap it, so you can almost see a little bit of a gap in there. It's important. And once you get toward the end of the dubbing and you get over to the top, do that right there. Okay, we're going to cut that feather off, but we want to pick this up. So threads on the bottom, spools on the bottom, this on top. I know you might say, okay, you keep saying that, but you get that ingrained in your head, you won't have to keep preparing a thread. And you know how many times I've been tying these, I'm happy, and then all of a sudden I go to just trim something and I hear a clunk. It's my bobbin hitting the wood. But this guy, I'm kind of happy with him. So let's whip tie him in and let's call it a fly. It's funny how your favorite parts of a fly can be the odd parts. Like my favorite part of this fly is actually that little bit of red. It's under the tail, and the red in the head. Okay, so got a nice wing. Torso, head take up about a third, 2/3. His body, small tail, nice beautiful wing, going arched up. Okay, it's not riding on top if it's separated from the body. So this fly, all I'm really going to do now is give him a little thing of beats and that. All right. I'm happy with them. Not much dressing on this one. We've got a nice spine and a nice separation here between there, so you've seen a little bit of that nice zonker in here. The foam, a nice even ribbing on the foam, little red tail, and of course a nice feather. So there you got a foam stimulator. Okay, I want to thank you for joining. This is our thank you for listening. I want to thank you for listening. Don't forget to subscribe so you can see these videos when they first come out. This is George at Foam with Flies. I hope you enjoyed this.